Some snakes are terrifying enough, but these things look like they came from a world before humans even existed. From a 50-foot snake supposedly spotted from a helicopter, to giant pythons swimming through floodwaters and crawling across suburban homes. These are giant snakes caught on camera that could be the Titanoboa. Back in late 2024, Thailand got hit with severe flooding in the southern part of the country that displaced over 30,000 people. During all that mess, a clip popped up on X from Patani province that got millions of views, and it's not surprising why. The video shows a massive reticulated python floating in the middle of the floodwater. It has a giant bulge in its stomach, which people said was from it swallowing a dog right before getting caught in the water. People online were pretty split over it. Some were just freaked out by the pure size of the thing. Others noticed it was floating belly up, meaning it was likely dead or drowning from being weighed down. Reticulated pythons are the longest snakes in the world, growing up to 32 feet. So when they're engorged with a fresh meal in their stomachs, they look like absolute monsters. Snakes are already unsettling enough when they're slithering through the grass, but what if you saw one lift its body off the ground to stare you in the eye? Like in this footage. This video was shared by Indian Forest Service officer Susanta Nanda, who posts pretty incredible wildlife clips online. Alongside the footage, he pointed out that king cobras can lift as much as a third of their bodies off the ground when they feel threatened, allowing them to face a full-grown adult at eye level. Video shows a huge king cobra slowly raising itself behind a muddy embankment until its head is towering over the edge. Then it just stays upright, calmly scanning its surroundings. It's the kind of video that almost doesn't look real, especially if you've never seen a king cobra display this behavior before. A lot of commenters said this is one of the most intimidating snake videos they've ever seen. As shocking as the footage looks though, it's actually normal behavior for a king cobra. Even worse, they're the world's longest venomous snakes, with adults reaching around 10 to 12 feet. Venom is incredibly powerful, containing enough neurotoxin in a single bite to kill multiple people if left untreated. Florida's Everglades have no shortage of giant pythons, but every once in a while, someone comes across one that makes even experienced wildlife photographers stop and stare. That's what happened when photographer Kim Clark and some friends spotted this huge Burmese python stretched across a road inside Everglades National Park. As they watched, the snake slowly slid off the pavement and disappeared into the grass, giving them plenty of time to film it. Clark estimated the python was at least 15 feet long, making it much bigger than the average snake found in the Everglades. After recording the video, Clark pinned the location and reported the snake so it could be dealt with. Burmese pythons don't belong in Florida. They've done a lot of damage to the ecosystem. For starters, eating the native animals, including some endangered species. Some people online asked why she didn't just run over it, but Clark said that would have been dangerous, and these snakes, they are supposed to be killed humanely. Burmese pythons started showing up in the Everglades more than 20 years ago, after pet snakes escaped or released into the wild. And since then, they've spread through the area and become one of the biggest threats to the ecosystem. Most of the pythons removed from Florida are around 8 to 10 feet long, but they can grow well over 20 feet and weigh as much as 200 pounds. Australia is already famous for having some of the most dangerous animals in the world, but even this was a shock to one family eating lunch. In 2023, a family in southeast Queensland spotted this huge carpet python crawling across the roof of their house before it slithered into the nearby trees. Video was originally posted on TikTok and quickly spread online, with people claiming the snake was around 16 feet long. The footage of the python is stretched across the roof, making it look absolutely enormous compared to the house. They never officially confirmed the snake's exact size, but even without knowing the exact measurement, there's no denying it was a huge carpet python. These snakes can grow to impressive lengths, commonly found across Australia, including in places where people live. Carpet pythons are non-venomous. They get their name from the unique patterns that cover their bodies, which can look similar to carpet design. They're often found hiding in trees, gardens, sheds, and of course on rooftops. This clip comes from deep in the Amazon rainforest, showing what appears to be an enormous snake moving through the water. First, we see something undulating in the water next to the boat, and it slowly makes its way through the muddy river. But as it slithers away, you notice how gigantic the thing is. Is it actually a Titanoboa? Yeah, probably not. But the Amazon is massive, with huge areas that are difficult for humans to reach, and that's what keeps people wondering about what else could still be hiding out there. Without a doubt though, this is a beast of a serpent. Same goes for this python. This video comes from a guy hiking through Pantanal, Brazil, which is the world's largest tropical wetland. unlike the jungle where animals can easily hide, here you see plenty of creatures right out in the open, which is really a blessing when you have something like this lurking around. Yeah, I don't want to be surprised by that guy. Right from the start of the video, you can clearly tell it's a really big snake based on the size of its head. But as the camera pans to the rest of the body sitting on the bank, dear Lord, I mean, that is terrifying. This footage, which was again shared by Indian Forest Service officer Susanta Nanda, well, it shows this huge snake stretching through a wall in Myanmar as it reached towards something on the other side. The python's body is draped across the wall while its head extends out, showing just how long the snake actually is. The angle makes it a bit difficult to judge its exact size, but the sheer length of its body is insane. The snake in the footage was identified as a reticulated python, one of the longest snake species in the world. Unlike venomous snakes, these pythons kill by wrapping around their prey and squeezing. They're known to be incredibly strong. Large ones can grow over 20 feet long. Of course, this is not a Titanoboa. They reached around 40 feet long and would have been much heavier than any modern snake, but it's easy to see why people see a video like this and then compare it to massive pythons from the ancient world. Thing is a beast. One of the most famous giant snake photos ever taken supposedly shows a snake that was around 50 feet long. The image was captured in 1959 by Colonel Remey Van Lierde, a Belgian World War II fighter pilot who was flying a helicopter over the Katanga region of the Congo. According to Van Lierde, he noticed something moving below in the jungle and immediately realized it was not an ordinary snake. He claimed the creature was massive, with dark green and brown coloring, a head around 3 feet long, and a body that stretched for roughly 50 feet. He even said the snake lifted itself around 10 feet off the ground as the helicopter approached, like it was trying to strike at them. Van Lierde circled the area several times so someone on board could take a photograph of the snake, and that image has been debated ever since. Some people believe it could be evidence of a giant unknown snake species hiding in the Congo, but skeptics argue that the angle and distance makes it impossible to really accurately judge the size, and that the perspective may have made the animal look much larger than it really was. But what makes the story more interesting is that Van Lierde never changed his account, continued claiming that he saw the enormous snake until his death in 1990. Alright, we've seen some pretty big snakes, but if someone actually told me that this was a Titanoboa, I might be inclined to believe them. This one wins the whole video. A farmer in India walks out onto his property and finds this massive snake that had just swallowed one of his cows. The first thing that stands out is, of course, the huge bulge in the middle of its body. That's the cow. Instead of staying far away, though, the guy grabs a rope and actually manages to lasso the snake, throwing it right over the middle of its body like he's trying to catch a steer. I have no idea how he was this calm to get that close, but if I walked outside and saw a snake that size on my property, doors being closed, it's very likely never opening again. Clips been shared all over the internet. People are still debating what kind of snake this actually was. Some believe it could be a green anaconda. Others think it might be something even larger that hasn't been officially identified. But as always, what are your thoughts? That's been the video. I'll catch you, yes, you specifically, in the next one.